Breaking news today.
Please subscribe and then check notification box to get all breaking news alerts.
Americans were once again faced with the fleeting nature of life on Sunday when a gunman opened fire on the parishioners of a small-town church in Texas. The attack, which to this point is being reported as completely unprovoked, was carried out by one disturbed individual whose mental issues put an end to the lives of 20-plus Americans. The trend of violence in America over the past few months is a disturbing one, to say the least, and one that the President and First Lady take very seriously. Their commitment to making America great again is one that extends to every problem that we face. Because of that, they both had immediate and heartfelt reactions to the shooting that had just occurred. Despite the first family being in Asia on a diplomatic mission at the time the shooting happened, they were notified and responded right away. The President tweeted this message after hearing about the horrible attack. This response was one that many appreciated, considering that it's the President's job to not just console, but react to problems like this. The First Lady's tweet was simple, but greatly appreciated. Because the couple is still in Asia, they had to carry on with their scheduled activities, but according to Daily Mail, within hours of the attack taking place, the First Lady sat down with school children in Japan and learned to write one powerful word: peace. First Lady Melania Trump visited a Tokyo elementary on Monday afternoon, where she learned about Japanese calligraphy and learned to write the word peace. Mrs. Trump visited Kyobashi Tsukiji Elementary School with Japan's First Lady, Aki Abe, the wife of Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. About 300 children welcomed them with the school song before Mrs. Trump posed for photos, shook hands and slapped high fives with kids. Since relations with Japan and other countries in Asia are ones that the United States consider extremely valuable, the diplomatic portion of their trip needed to carry on. The leaders of Japan have been waiting to spend one-on-one time with the President and First Lady, especially with the growing threat in North Korea on everyone's minds, and they seem to have made the most of it. Wonderful visit with Mrs. Abe today. Enjoyed conversation over tea and the cultural presentation on the history of pearls, Melania tweeted after the meeting. The First Ladies then had a private dinner with their husbands at a Japanese steakhouse. Meanwhile, Presidents Trump and Abe spoke at a joint press conference about their efforts to combat the North Korean nuclear missile program on Monday. Abe announced plans to take additional sanctions measures against North Korea over its escalating missile and nuclear development. He said on Monday he will announce Tuesday a freezing of the assets of 35 North Korean groups and individuals as Japan's own sanctions measure. Even though the shooting in Texas was a horrible tragedy that we won't soon forget, it's not the biggest issue that President Trump has to deal with. The potential loss of life that the United States, Japan, and other countries could sustain if North Korea decides to follow through on its many threats would be much larger and more devastating even than the attacks that the U.S. has had to contend with recently. The past 3 attacks that have been carried out on Americans have all been done by deranged individuals with only their own personal backing. Kim Jong-un, the unhinged dictator that rules North Korea with an iron fist, has the resources of an entire country. Given, it's a small country, but what resources they do have been funneled almost exclusively into attempting to make them a deadly force. This is the issue that President Trump went to Japan to address. Abe said that North Korea dominated their talks, and that they are completely on the same page on the issue. Abe reiterated that it's not time for dialogue but to maximize pressure on North Korea. Trump said that he expects Japan to purchase massive amounts of military equipment from the United States so the country will be able to shoot missiles from North Korea out of the sky. Abe said Japan shoots down missiles only when it's necessary. He said that the plan would mean more jobs,